Sup Shredders, my name is Logan, aka Spiderhands, and welcome to an SP Reacts, where today we have ourselves a track from an act named First Fiction titled Hyde Park Corner. And if we switch over to here, we have got ourselves a track on YouTube now. There are a few people involved in this. We've got music and lyrics by Andrew Michelle, as well as vocals, bass, keys, and guitars. The drums are played by Chris Rios from Los Angeles. And also apparently Andrew's brother, Adam Michelle, also helped out with the production, mixing, and mastering. So it was a team effort. We're going to listen through this track from start till finish, and we're going to hear what we think. We're also going to be giving this song an overall score out of 10 based on various musical criteria at the end, but for now, let's go, let's do it. I like the wistful tone of those guitars. Shimmers, doesn't it? Fantastic. Nice little bit of distortion at the end there as well. I'm a little bit confused about that last part. I'm not necessarily sure of the context, but we're going to talk about this track more in the conclusion. And so welcome to the conclusion of my review of this track from an act named First Fiction titled Hyde Park Corner. Now in this section we're going to talk about my sort of overall thoughts on this, a few things I really appreciated as well as any sort of like applicable constructive critique, and my overall thoughts on it from a general listener's perspective. I also should note that I've given this song an overall score of 7.9 out of 10, which I think is a fantastic first impression to First Fiction's work. I think a lot of things are done really well here and we're going to talk about those. But before we go any further, what do we think this track is about? I think this track is celebrating Hyde Park Corner, where all the people go and where they're able to be open and honest with each other and just express themselves without fear of needing to be less than sort of transparent. It just seems like a really pretty beautiful place. I mean, I look at the album art up there, or the single art there, and it seems almost sort of nostalgic, like a place where it was uncomplicated. People could just have that sort of commiseration. And I do feel that the people involved in making this song had a great sense of affinity for it as a location. I think that that's just a cool thing to write a song about, like a place that you appreciate. I think that's kind of cool. It's just sort of unique subject matter to a certain extent, and I feel like there'll be an audience for it. So in terms of things that I thought were done well, I like the vocals and the different ways that we express ourselves, the way that we sort of layered the vocals there, giving them an extra bit of size in some of those chorus sections, the way they were calling responses, the way they moved around the stereo field and weren't in the same position there. It decorated it really neatly. The pitch or the octave we were in within the mix, despite how kind of pretty and bright a lot of the guitar parts were, it still had presence there, and we hit the notes really cleanly as well, so we can sing well, and ultimately it just feels really well considered. There's a little bit of quietness going on in some of those verse sections, like they're having a conversation themselves, but then we cry out as sort of, I suppose, in the kind of celebration of Hyde Park Corner. So ultimately, I think, we handled things in the mic excellently. I also just think in general the guitars specifically were really cool. So I liked the lead guitars as well as the kind of clean arpeggiated parts with effects change like reverbs and maybe the chorus, something like that on, just an interesting kind of shimmer to them. And we switched things up and add some sort of lead parts like a solo section and the outro part, as well as some really sort of intriguing kind of discordant stuff with the feedback going at the end, which I'm not necessarily super sure about. I'm not sure what we're trying to communicate there, but I nonetheless appreciate the creativity. It was unexpected, and I think that maybe it's almost hinting from like a symbolic perspective that things are maybe not as they seem. And although we had some clear, distinct kind of octave chords or slides or bendy parts there, which were meant to sort of take over from the vocals, we also weren't afraid to combine different guitar layers between the cleans and less clean parts and have them just sort of nestle in amongst one another in a really sort of satisfying way. There were some really beautiful interludes and overall chords played by the individual notes and how they sort of came together, and it was very sort of positive sounding, even with kind of the minor leaning of some of the verse sections and progressions there. In fact, I think that's also just a point of interest for me more than anything, the minor leaning with the song and how it corresponds to a lot of the guitar, bass, and drum layers. Because to further sort of let you know, there's a lot more to. I sort of talk about three main things in these quote-unquote reaction videos. I think the drum playing was phenomenal. I love the tightness of the grooves there, as well as the kind of movement between the quarters, eighths, and sixteens. I thought the bass playing as well, although a bit more sort of subtle in this piece because of the brightness of a lot of the higher end elements, and without being too harsh. So the production was handled very well as well. Things were leveled nicely, spread around the stereo field, etc. Nice and tight without pumping, with dynamic range, adequate and interesting production decisions such as the end there in a way, which I kind of am starting to sort of get more of a feel now, because I look at the minor leaning of a lot of these chord progressions and bass lines and stuff like that in the vocal parts, and how I could sort of compare it to the story. It does make me think that there's a little bit of juxtaposition going on, that things are not what they seem. Maybe we're trying to sort of celebrating what it was at the time before something horrific happens. I'm just not sure. It's just an interesting, as a listener, it piques my curiosity. And I think more than anything, music needs to kind of make you want to figure it out. You don't usually have minor leaning with a general sort of positive thing, such as, again, people sort of celebrating and saying how grateful they are to each other. But nonetheless, Nonetheless, I still think it was effective. So ultimately, the instrumental performances in general were very strong. I liked the vocals and the way they told the story, and I also thought that the actual the key signature with the vocals and everything else and the brightness and the way they kind of contrasted, but in a sort of a satisfying and intriguing way, was very effective. There's no real applicable constructive critique on my part. I'm very happy with it overall. I thought it was well handled from satellite vocals to production. From a general listener's perspective, yeah, it's just really cool to hear them playing their instruments. You can tell that there were slight variations in tempo, not in a poor way, not in a badly done way. I'm very happy about it because you can tell those little bits of patina in there, like the slight bits. It just sounds like they're all sort of jamming together in a room, and it was like a real performance, and you could tell they're playing their guitars, bass, and drums and stuff like that. And maybe I'm just getting older and a bit less tolerant, but like I review an amount of music nowadays which just doesn't seem real. And so when I hear this, I go, man, I love it. I want to hear more of this. I just want to hear people telling these stories about stuff I'm not familiar with, and I want to learn more about them. So I want to thank First Fiction for that, but also thank you for watching my review of this track from an act named First Fiction titled Hyde Park Corner, and hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, please go show them some love via their various social medias and the YouTube page, and stay cool and stay safe, and please remember to support your local musicians and artists at this point in time, as they need the help more than ever with all the crazy stuff going on in the world. And I will catch you in the next SP Reacts. Spiderhands out.